Have you ever felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts that seem to creep into your mind uninvited? Do you find yourself replaying moments of anger or disappointment long after they've passed? If you answered yes, you're not alone. Many of us struggle with negativity in our daily lives, feeling as if we're trapped in a cycle that drains our energy and joy. But what if I told you that there's a way to break free? What if you could transform your mind into a sanctuary of peace and positivity? Imagine waking up each day with a clear mind, free from the weight of negativity. Picture yourself approaching challenges with a calm spirit, ready to embrace whatever life throws your way. This transformation is possible, and it begins with understanding the principles of Buddhism, which offers timeless wisdom on how to remove negativity from your mind. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the art of living a more peaceful and fulfilling life. If you find value in our insights, we encourage you to like, comment, and share this video. And remember, there are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Your support helps us continue bringing valuable content to you. Throughout this video series, we'll delve into practical techniques rooted in Buddhist teachings, guiding you toward a more positive mindset. By the end, you'll have the tools to silence that inner critic and foster a sense of tranquility. So, stay with us as we embark on this transformative journey together, understanding the root of negativity. As we continue on this journey to remove negativity from the mind, we must first take a deeper look at where this negativity comes from. You might often ask yourself, why do I feel so weighed down by negative thoughts? It can feel as if negativity appears out of nowhere, like an uninvited guest that suddenly takes over our mind. But is it really so random? In Buddhism, we learn that negativity doesn't arise by chance. It has roots, and once we understand where it comes from, we can start to remove it. Negativity is like a tree. When we only look at its branches, our daily frustrations, fears, or anger, we forget to notice the roots below. And just like with a tree, if we don't deal with the roots, the branches will keep growing. So, what are these roots? Where do they come from? Let's explore. The three poisons: greed, hatred, and ignorance. In Buddhism, the root of all negative emotions can be traced to what we call the three poisons: greed, hatred, and ignorance. These are the primary causes of suffering and negativity in our lives. First, let's talk about greed. Greed isn't just about wanting material things. It's any kind of desire that goes unchecked. We want things to go our way, we want people to act in a certain way, or we want life to be perfect all the time. This constant wanting creates dissatisfaction. Think about it. When we're constantly chasing after something, we feel restless, anxious, and unhappy with what we already have. We believe that we'll only be happy once we get what we want. But does that ever really happen? Even if we do get what we desire, there's always something new to chase after, and the cycle of negativity continues. Next is hatred, or aversion. This includes not just anger, but any form of pushing away what we don't like. We tend to resist or fight against things that make us uncomfortable, whether it's a situation, a person, or even our own thoughts. Think about the last time you felt irritated or angry. Maybe it was during an argument, or maybe someone said something that rubbed you the wrong way. In those moments, we often think, if only this person wasn't like this, or if only this situation were different. We push back against reality, and that resistance creates more negativity. The more we resist, the more we suffer. Lastly, we come to ignorance. In Buddhist teachings, ignorance doesn't just mean lack of knowledge. It means not seeing things as they truly are. Ignorance is when we are blind to the true nature of ourselves and the world around us. We don't see the impermanence of life, the interconnectedness of all things, or the fact that our thoughts are not always the truth. Because of this ignorance, we cling to things that are fleeting, we get angry over things that aren't real, and we create negativity in our minds by misunderstanding the nature of reality. When we don't understand these three poisons, they continue to influence our thoughts, emotions, and actions without us even realizing it. They keep us stuck in cycles of negativity, and the more we allow them to control us, the deeper their roots grow. Understanding the cycle of negative thoughts. Have you ever noticed how one negative thought can lead to another, and before you know it, your entire mood is affected? This is because negativity tends to snowball. Once a negative thought enters the mind, it often attracts more. This happens because our minds are naturally drawn to patterns. If we don't interrupt this cycle, it can spiral out of control. Let me give you an example. Imagine you wake up in the morning and immediately think, "I didn't sleep well. Today is going to be a bad day." From that single thought, your mind starts finding more reasons to support it. Maybe you spill your coffee and you think, "See, I knew today was going to be bad." Your thoughts continue to spiral downward. But what if that first thought never happened? Or what if, instead of letting it grow, you simply noticed it and let it go? This is where mindfulness comes in, which we'll talk about more in the next part of this series. Understanding the root of negativity is the first step toward freeing yourself from it. When we see how our negative thoughts arise from deeper causes, greed, hatred, and ignorance, we can start to work on removing them at their source. It's like pulling a weed from the garden. If you only trim the leaves, it will grow back. But if you pull it out by the roots, it's gone for good. The role of the ego in negativity. Another important factor to consider is the role of the ego in generating negativity. In Buddhism, the ego refers to the sense of a separate self, the part of us that believes we are distinct from everyone and everything else. This illusion of separateness is a major source of suffering and negativity. The ego constantly seeks validation, approval, and control. It wants to feel important, and it feels threatened when things don't go its way. This leads to jealousy, insecurity, and fear. When the ego is in charge, it's easy to feel negative because the ego is never satisfied. Even when things are going well, the ego wants more. It compares, it judges, and it creates endless dissatisfaction. When we understand that the ego is an illusion, that this sense of separateness isn't real, we can begin to loosen its grip on our minds. We start to see that we are not as disconnected from the world as we think. This realization helps dissolve the negativity that arises from the ego's constant demands. Recognizing the patterns of negativity. One of the key ways to overcome negativity is to recognize its patterns in your life. Start to notice when negative thoughts or emotions arise. What triggers them? How do they make you feel? Are there certain situations or people that seem to bring out more negativity in you? By becoming more aware of your patterns, you can start to interrupt the cycle of negativity before it spirals out of control. For example, if you notice that you tend to feel negative after scrolling through social media or watching the news, you can choose to limit your exposure to those things. Or if you find that certain conversations or environments make you feel more negative, you can take steps to avoid or change those situations. Practical steps to address negativity. Now that we've explored the roots of negativity, let's talk about some practical steps you can take to start addressing it. Awareness. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Start paying attention to your thoughts. When a negative thought arises, don't judge yourself for it. Simply notice it. Say to yourself, there's a negative thought. This simple act of noticing can create a gap between you and the thought, allowing you to choose how to respond to it. Acceptance. Once you've noticed the negative thought, the next step is acceptance. Don't try to push it away or fight it. Remember, resistance creates more negativity. Instead, acknowledge the thought and let it be. You can say, "I see you, but I don't need to engage with you." This helps to reduce the power the thought has over you. Letting go. After you've noticed and accepted the negative thought, it's time to let it go. This doesn't mean ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist. It means not attaching to it. Negative thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They come and go. If we don't hold on to them, they will pass. Compassion. Finally, practice compassion. When negativity arises, instead of criticizing yourself, be kind. Remember that everyone experiences negative thoughts. You're not alone in this. By being gentle with yourself, you create a space of peace within your mind, which naturally reduces negativity. Final thoughts. Negativity is something we all experience, but it doesn't have to control us. By understanding its roots, greed, hatred, ignorance, and the ego, we can begin to loosen its hold on our minds. Recognizing the patterns of negativity and taking practical steps to address them can lead to a more peaceful, positive life. Remember, this journey is not about eliminating all negative thoughts forever. It's about learning how to handle them skillfully when they arise. Stay with us as we continue this journey into understanding the mind, and in the next part, we'll explore how mindfulness can help us dissolve negative thoughts before they take root. The power of mindfulness in dissolving negative thoughts. Let's begin with a simple question. How often do you find your mind drifting into negativity? It could be frustration over a conversation, anxiety about the future, or perhaps anger from a past experience. Most of us get caught in these spirals of negative thinking without even realizing it. But what if I told you that the key to dissolving these negative thoughts lies in the power of mindfulness? Mindfulness is not some distant concept reserved for monks on mountaintops. It's a practice that anyone, anywhere, can integrate into their daily life. At its core, mindfulness is about being present. It's about fully experiencing the moment you're in, without judgment, without letting your mind wander into the past or the future. When you're mindful, you aren't clinging to thoughts or emotions. Instead, you're observing them, letting them flow in and out like waves on the shore. So how does mindfulness help dissolve negativity? Let me explain. Imagine that your mind is like a glass of water. When your mind is clear, the water is still and transparent. But when negativity creeps in, stress, anger, resentment, it's as though you've dropped ink into the glass. Suddenly, the water becomes cloudy. The more negative thoughts you have, the darker and murkier the water becomes. But here's where mindfulness comes in. It's like a gentle, natural process that allows the ink to settle. You aren't trying to force the water to be clear again. You're simply allowing it to return to its natural state. Through mindfulness, you aren't battling your negative thoughts. You're allowing them to lose their grip on you. Let me give you a simple example. Picture yourself stuck in traffic. Your thoughts begin to spiral. I'm going to be late. Or, why is this always happening to me? You feel the frustration building. In this moment, mindfulness gives you a choice. Instead of letting those negative thoughts take over, you can take a deep breath and notice the present moment. You might observe the sounds of the cars, the feel of the steering wheel in your hands, or the rhythm of your breath. By doing this, you bring your mind back to the present, breaking the cycle of negativity. Mindfulness teaches us that thoughts are just thoughts. They aren't facts. They don't define who we are. When we're lost in negative thinking, we often believe that those thoughts are reality. I'm not good enough. I always fail. Nobody understands me. We start to accept these statements as truths. But mindfulness allows us to step back and see these thoughts for what they are: temporary mental events. They come and go like clouds passing through the sky. By observing them without getting attached, we create space in our minds. And in that space, negativity begins to dissolve. Buddhist teachings emphasize that our minds have a tendency to cling. We cling to thoughts, we cling to emotions, and we cling to experiences. This clinging is what causes suffering. Mindfulness helps us loosen that grip. When a negative thought arises, instead of holding on to it, we can simply acknowledge it. There's that thought again, and let it pass. It's like watching a leaf float down a stream. You don't chase after it, you just watch it flow by, knowing it will eventually disappear from sight. One of the most important aspects of mindfulness is that it brings us back to the present. So much of our negativity comes from dwelling in the past or worrying about the future. Think about it. How many of your negative thoughts are tied to something that's happening right now? Often, they are linked to things that have already happened or things that haven't even happened yet. Mindfulness anchors you in the present moment, allowing you to break free from the chains of regret and anxiety. Let's talk about another practical example. Suppose you're having an argument with someone close to you. In the heat of the moment, negative thoughts may flood your mind. Anger, blame, hurt. You might start replaying past arguments, adding fuel to the fire. But if you bring mindfulness into the situation, you can notice the thoughts as they arise. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause, take a breath, and observe your emotions. This doesn't mean you ignore what's happening or suppress your feelings. Instead, you're giving yourself the space to respond more skillfully without being consumed by negativity. Over time, mindfulness rewires your brain. Science has shown that regular mindfulness practice can change the way your brain responds to stress and negative thoughts. It strengthens the areas of your brain associated with awareness and compassion while quieting the parts that fuel fear and anxiety. In a way, mindfulness is like mental training. The more you practice, the more resilient your mind becomes, and the less power negativity has over you. Now, you might be wondering, how do I start practicing mindfulness? The good news is that mindfulness doesn't require any special tools or long hours of meditation. You can begin right now, wherever you are. The first step is simply to become aware. Notice your thoughts without judgment. When a negative thought arises, don't try to push it away or dwell on it. Just acknowledge it. There's that thought again. Then, gently bring your focus back to the present moment. One technique that can help is mindful breathing. It's as simple as paying attention to your breath. Feel the sensation of the air as it enters and leaves your body. When your mind wanders, which it will, just gently guide your attention back to your breath. This practice is like a reset button for your mind. It calms your nervous system and brings you back to the present. Another way to practice mindfulness is through everyday activities. You don't need to set aside special time for it, though that can be helpful too. Try bringing mindfulness to things you already do. Whether it's washing the dishes, taking a walk, or eating a meal, pay attention to the sensations, sounds, and smells around you. If your mind starts to wander into negative territory, gently bring it back to the task at hand. This simple shift in awareness can have a profound effect on your mental state. Remember, mindfulness is not about eliminating negative thoughts completely. It's about changing your relationship with them. Instead of being swept away by negativity, you become the observer. You create space between yourself and your thoughts, and in that space, you find freedom. Over time, as you practice mindfulness, you'll notice that negative thoughts come less frequently and hold less power over you. In Buddhism, mindfulness is seen as a path to liberation. It's not just a tool for dealing with day-to-day stress. It's a way to deeply transform your mind. By cultivating mindfulness, you can break free from the habits of negative thinking and experience a greater sense of peace, clarity, and happiness. In conclusion, mindfulness offers a powerful way to dissolve negative thoughts. It's a simple practice, but its effects can be profound. By staying present, observing your thoughts without judgment, and letting go of clinging, you can gradually free your mind from negativity. The journey of mindfulness is one of patience and practice, but the rewards, a calmer, more peaceful mind, are well worth it. So, take a deep breath, be present in this moment, and let mindfulness be your guide toward a more positive, peaceful state of mind. How attachment fuels negativity. In our journey through life, we often cling to things, people, experiences, and even our emotions. This attachment can create a heavy burden on our minds. When we hold on too tightly to something, we risk suffering when it changes or is lost. It's essential to understand how attachment fuels negativity and how letting go can lead to a clearer, more peaceful mind. Let's consider a simple example. Imagine you have a favorite shirt that you've worn for years. It holds many memories, and you feel a deep connection to it. One day, it gets a tear or a stain that you can't remove. How do you feel? If you're overly attached to that shirt, you might feel devastated, angry, or even worthless because something you cherish is damaged. This reaction comes from attachment. Now, what if you could look at that shirt and appreciate the memories without clinging to it? You could let it go, making room for something new, without feeling that sense of loss. This shift in mindset can apply to many areas of our lives. Buddhism teaches us that attachment is a root cause of suffering. When we cling to the past, we miss the present moment. We become trapped in our desires, wanting things to be different from how they are. This desire creates tension and unhappiness. By recognizing our attachments, we can start to understand how they fuel our negativity. One way to start loosening our grip on attachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness invites us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you feel a strong attachment, pause for a moment. Notice the sensations in your body. Are you tense? Is your heart racing? By bringing awareness to these feelings, you create space to understand them better. Instead of acting on your attachment, you can choose to respond with clarity. Let's explore a few Buddhist concepts that can help us understand and let go of attachment. The first is impermanence. Everything in life is temporary. Relationships, feelings, and even material possessions come and go. By accepting impermanence, we can reduce our attachment. When you recognize that nothing lasts forever, it becomes easier to appreciate the moment without clinging to it. This understanding can bring a sense of freedom. Another concept is non-attachment, which doesn't mean we stop caring. Instead, it encourages us to love and appreciate without clinging. When we practice non-attachment, we can enjoy relationships and experiences without the fear of loss. This doesn't mean we won't feel sad when something ends. It means we'll be able to process that sadness more gracefully. We learn to cherish what we have while also accepting that it may not last. Practicing gratitude is another powerful tool in reducing attachment. When we focus on what we have instead of what we lack, we cultivate a positive mindset. Try keeping a gratitude journal where you note down things you appreciate each day. This practice can help shift your focus from attachment to appreciation, leading to a lighter heart and a more positive outlook. Let's also consider the impact of comparing ourselves to others. Social media often amplifies this tendency, making us feel like we're lacking compared to others. This comparison can create attachments to ideals that don't serve us. Instead of measuring our worth by what others have or achieve, let's celebrate our unique journey. Embrace who you are and what you have, and remember that everyone has their struggles, even if they aren't visible. Letting go of attachment is a process, and it won't happen overnight. Start small. Identify one area in your life where you feel a strong attachment. Reflect on how that attachment affects your emotions and mindset. Can you practice non-attachment in that area? Gradually, as you cultivate this awareness, you'll find that your negativity starts to fade. Your mind will become clearer and your heart lighter. As we continue this journey, remember that the goal isn't to eliminate all feelings of attachment. It's about finding balance. Attachments can bring joy, but when they become burdens, it's time to reflect and reevaluate. By embracing the teachings of Buddhism, we can learn to navigate our attachments skillfully, transforming them into sources of joy rather than suffering. In conclusion, recognizing how attachment fuels negativity is a vital step toward a clearer mind. By understanding impermanence, practicing non-attachment, and focusing on gratitude, we can begin to loosen the grip of our attachments. This journey will not only lighten our minds, but also open our hearts to the beauty of the present moment. The role of compassion in overcoming negativity. Compassion is a powerful force. It can change how we see the world and how we see ourselves. In Buddhism, compassion is not just a feeling. It's a practice that helps us break free from the chains of negativity. So, how can we cultivate this deep sense of compassion in our daily lives? To begin, let's understand what compassion truly means. It's more than just feeling sorry for someone. It's an empathetic understanding of another's suffering, paired with a desire to help alleviate that pain. Imagine a friend who is going through a tough time. Instead of just saying, "I'm sorry you feel this way," you take a moment to really listen to them, to understand their feelings. This act of listening is a compassionate act. When we practice compassion, we begin to shift our focus away from our own negativity. Instead of being wrapped up in our worries and frustrations, we start to see the struggles of others. This shift in focus can be incredibly freeing. When you empathize with someone else's pain, your own worries can seem smaller in comparison. You realize that you are not alone in your struggles. Everyone faces challenges. This realization helps to lighten your heart. Now, you might wonder, how do I cultivate compassion in my life? One of the simplest ways is to start with yourself. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for our mistakes, believing we should be perfect. But remember, everyone makes mistakes. Instead of berating yourself for a failure, practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Offer kindness, understanding, and support. Meditation can be a wonderful tool for developing compassion. One popular practice is the loving kindness meditation. In this practice, you start by focusing on yourself, wishing yourself happiness and peace. Then, you gradually extend these wishes to others, first to friends, then to acquaintances, and finally to those with whom you have difficulties. With time, this practice can open your heart, allowing you to experience a deeper connection to others and yourself. Compassion also encourages us to act. When we see someone in distress, our instinct may be to help them. This could mean simply offering a listening ear, volunteering our time, or even just sending a kind message. These small acts of kindness create ripples of positivity that can help dispel negativity, not just for ourselves but for others as well. Additionally, consider the impact of compassion on our relationships. When we approach others with a compassionate heart, we create a more supportive and understanding environment. It fosters trust and deepens connections. You might notice that as you practice compassion towards others, they often reciprocate. This creates a positive feedback loop, where compassion grows and negativity diminishes. Let's also talk about the importance of forgiveness. Holding on to grudges or past hurts can weigh heavily on our minds, creating a breeding ground for negativity. By choosing to forgive, we free ourselves from this burden. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone the actions that hurt you. It means you're choosing to let go of the negative emotions tied to those actions. When you forgive, you're practicing compassion, not just towards others, but towards yourself as well. In our fast-paced world, it can be easy to overlook the importance of compassion. However, making it a daily practice can bring profound changes to your mindset. Start with small steps. When you notice someone struggling, pause for a moment. Reflect on their situation. How might they be feeling? What can you do to help? Also, don't forget to be compassionate towards yourself. Allow yourself the grace to be imperfect. Life is a journey, and every stumble is an opportunity to learn and grow. Recognize that you deserve kindness and understanding just as much as anyone else. Remember, the act of compassion begins with awareness. Notice your thoughts and feelings. When negativity arises, pause and ask yourself, how can I respond with compassion? This simple question can help guide you toward a more positive mindset. As we cultivate compassion, we'll begin to notice that negativity has less power over us. Our thoughts will shift from fear and frustration to understanding and kindness. This transformation may not happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you will find that your mind becomes a more peaceful place. In conclusion, compassion is a vital tool in overcoming negativity. It allows us to connect with others and ourselves on a deeper level, fostering a sense of belonging and support. By practicing compassion daily, we can create a ripple effect of positivity in our lives and the lives of those around us. So let us embrace this beautiful practice, transforming our minds and hearts along the way. Practicing detachment, a Buddhist approach to emotional freedom. In our journey through life, we often find ourselves tangled in the web of our emotions and attachments. We cling to our ideas, our possessions, and even our relationships, believing that they define who we are. But what if I told you that true freedom lies in practicing detachment? In Buddhism, detachment is not about shutting yourself off from the world. Rather, it's about finding balance and understanding the transient nature of all things. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine you're holding on to a balloon. As long as you have a firm grip, the balloon stays with you. But what happens if you hold on too tightly? The balloon might pop, and you're left with nothing but a memory. On the other hand, if you hold it gently, you can enjoy its beauty without the fear of losing it. This is the essence of detachment. It allows us to appreciate life without becoming overly dependent on it. In Buddhism, attachment is often linked to suffering. When we cling to things, whether they are material possessions, achievements, or relationships, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Life is inherently unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift, and possessions wear out. By learning to let go of our attachments, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of peace and acceptance. One of the core teachings of the Buddha is the concept of anatta, or non-self. This principle teaches us that the self is not a fixed entity. Instead, it is a collection of thoughts, emotions, and experiences that are constantly changing. When we identify too strongly with a particular aspect of ourselves, like our job title, our relationships, or our possessions, we risk losing sight of our true nature. Practicing detachment helps us remember that we are more than our labels. We are, at our core, a flowing stream of consciousness. Detachment doesn't mean that we don't care. It simply means that we approach our experiences with an open heart, without being overly affected by outcomes. Think of it like watching a movie. You can become deeply engaged in the story and characters, feeling joy and sadness as the plot unfolds. However, when the credits roll, you recognize that it was just a film. You appreciate the experience without letting it dictate your reality. So, How can we cultivate this practice of detachment in our daily lives? Here are a few simple techniques to help you get started. Mindfulness meditation. This practice invites us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. As you sit in meditation, notice the emotions that arise. Instead of clinging to them or pushing them away, simply acknowledge their presence and let them drift away like clouds in the sky. Over time, this will help you develop a sense of detachment from your thoughts. Gratitude practice. Take a moment each day to reflect on what you're grateful for. When we focus on abundance rather than lack, we shift our perspective. Gratitude helps us appreciate what we have without becoming attached to the idea of needing more. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each day and notice how it shifts your mindset. Embrace impermanence. Remind yourself that everything in life is temporary. Relationships, achievements, and possessions will come and go. By embracing this truth, you can cultivate a sense of freedom. Instead of fearing loss, learn to appreciate the beauty of each moment without clinging to it. Practice letting go. Start with small attachments, maybe a piece of clothing you no longer wear or an old toy that no longer holds meaning. Letting go of these items can serve as a powerful reminder that our identity is not tied to material possessions. As you let go, notice how freeing it feels to create space in your life. Set healthy boundaries. In relationships, it's important to cultivate a sense of autonomy. This doesn't mean distancing yourself from others, but rather ensuring that your sense of self is not overly dependent on anyone else. Communicate your needs and establish boundaries that allow for healthy interactions without the weight of attachment. Reflect on the nature of desire. Recognize that desires often stem from attachment. When we desire something, we often believe it will bring us happiness. Take a moment to reflect on the last time you felt a strong desire. What did you believe it would bring you? Was the outcome as fulfilling as you imagined? Understanding the nature of desire can help us detach from the belief that it defines our happiness. Engage in compassionate action. When you find yourself getting attached to something or someone, shift your focus toward compassion. How can you serve others without expecting anything in return? By engaging in acts of kindness, we practice selflessness and learn to appreciate connections without clinging to them. As you explore these practices, remember that detachment is not a destination but a lifelong journey. Each step you take brings you closer to emotional freedom. It's normal to experience moments of attachment. What matters is how we respond to them. With patience and practice, you'll find that the weight of negativity begins to lift, allowing you to experience life with an open heart and a clear mind. In the end, practicing detachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent. It means embracing the beauty of life while recognizing that true joy comes from within. By letting go of attachments, you'll create space for new experiences, deeper connections, and a more peaceful existence. So take a deep breath, relax your grip, and let life unfold as it is meant to be. Cultivating positive mind states through meditation. Meditation is often described as a pathway to inner peace. But what does that really mean? At its core, meditation is about training your mind to focus and remain present. When we talk about cultivating positive mind states, we are referring to the ability to replace negativity with thoughts of love, compassion, and joy. Through regular meditation practice, we can learn to observe our thoughts without judgment and gradually shift our mindset from one of negativity to one of positivity. Let's start by understanding what a positive mind state actually is. A positive mind state is not just about being happy all the time. It's about embracing a sense of peace and contentment regardless of external circumstances. It's the ability to see the good in every situation and respond with kindness and understanding. Buddhism teaches us that our thoughts shape our reality, so by fostering positive mind states, we can create a more harmonious existence. One of the simplest forms of meditation is called mindfulness meditation. This practice involves sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and observing your thoughts as they arise. Instead of getting caught up in negative thoughts or feelings, you learn to acknowledge them and let them pass, like clouds drifting across the sky. This practice helps us realize that thoughts are not permanent. They come and go, and we have the power to choose how much energy we give them. When you begin your meditation practice, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. As you breathe in, imagine drawing in positive energy, and as you breathe out, visualize letting go of negativity. This simple exercise helps you create a mental space where positivity can flourish. Another effective technique is loving kindness meditation, or metta meditation. This form of meditation encourages us to send goodwill and kindness to ourselves and others. Begin by sitting comfortably and focusing on yourself. Silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease." As you feel the warmth of these wishes, slowly extend this goodwill to others, first to friends and loved ones, then to acquaintances, and eventually to those you may have difficulties with. This practice not only enhances your own positive feelings, but also helps dissolve feelings of resentment and negativity towards others. As we cultivate these positive mind states through meditation, we may also notice an increase in our awareness. This awareness allows us to catch negative thoughts in their tracks before they spiral out of control. For instance, if you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can recognize this thought and replace it with a more positive affirmation, such as, "I am worthy just as I am." This shift in thinking can have a profound impact on your overall outlook. Consistency is key when it comes to meditation. Try to set aside a few minutes each day for your practice. Even if it's just 5 minutes, the important thing is to make it a habit. Over time, you will notice changes in your mindset and emotional resilience. You may find that you are less reactive to stressors and more capable of handling challenges with grace. As you deepen your meditation practice, consider joining a group or community. Sharing your experiences with others can provide support and encouragement. Plus, practicing in a group setting often amplifies the positive energy that comes from meditation. You may discover new techniques and insights that further enhance your journey. It's also beneficial to incorporate meditation into your daily life outside of your formal practice. You can practice mindfulness while eating, walking, or even washing dishes. Bringing awareness to these everyday activities helps reinforce the positive mind states you are cultivating during meditation. Each moment becomes an opportunity to practice being present and appreciating the beauty around you. Meditation can also help you develop gratitude, another powerful tool for cultivating positive mind states. By regularly reflecting on the things you are grateful for, you can shift your focus from what is lacking in your life to what is abundant. You might start a gratitude journal, jotting down a few things you appreciate each day. This practice fosters a mindset of abundance and encourages positive emotions to flourish. As we learn to cultivate positive mind states through meditation, we also become more aware of the impermanence of our thoughts and emotions. Buddhism teaches that everything is in a constant state of change. Recognizing this can help us detach from negative feelings and allow them to pass. Just as clouds give way to sunshine, negative thoughts can give way to positivity with practice and patience. Ultimately, meditation is about connecting with your true self. When you cultivate a positive mind state, you begin to align more closely with your authentic nature, one that is naturally peaceful and joyful. This connection can empower you to navigate the challenges of life with a sense of ease and clarity. In conclusion, cultivating positive mind states through meditation is a transformative journey that takes time and commitment. By practicing mindfulness and loving kindness, we can learn to replace negativity with positivity, leading to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Remember, every moment spent in meditation is a step toward creating a brighter, more positive reality for yourself and those around you. Embrace this journey with an open heart and watch as your world begins to change. Breaking the cycle of negative karma. In the journey of life, our actions create ripples that extend far beyond our immediate experience. This is the essence of karma, a central concept in Buddhism. Karma isn't merely about rewards and punishments. It's about understanding how our thoughts, words, and deeds shape our present and future. To break free from negativity, we must first grasp this concept and recognize the power we hold in our choices. Every thought we nurture and every action we take plants a seed in the garden of our minds. When we dwell on negative thoughts or act with ill intent, we're essentially watering weeds that can choke the growth of our inner peace. Conversely, when we engage in positive actions, be it kindness, compassion, or mindfulness, we cultivate a fertile ground for positivity and happiness. So, how do we break the cycle of negative karma? First, let's reflect on our daily actions. Are we responding to situations with anger or frustration? Do we allow negativity to influence our decisions? It's essential to be aware of our habitual patterns. By cultivating mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts and reactions without judgment. This awareness is the first step toward transformation. When we become conscious of how our actions affect ourselves and others, we empower ourselves to make different choices. Next, consider the idea of intention. In Buddhism, the motivation behind an action is as significant as the action itself. Ask yourself, what is driving your actions? Are they coming from a place of love, or are they fueled by fear or resentment? When we act with positive intentions, we create positive karma. This means that even small acts of kindness can have a profound impact on our lives and the lives of those around us. Another crucial aspect is forgiveness. Holding on to grudges and resentment creates negative karma that can weigh heavily on our hearts. Learning to forgive, whether it's forgiving ourselves or others, frees us from the shackles of negativity. It doesn't mean we condone harmful behavior. Rather, it allows us to release the burden of anger, making space for healing and positivity. As we break the cycle of negative karma, we can also embrace the practice of gratitude. When we focus on what we appreciate in life, we shift our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. This simple yet powerful shift can help us recognize the good around us, even amidst challenges. Keep a gratitude journal, noting the small joys you encounter each day, and watch as your perspective transforms. Let's not forget the importance of community. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences can significantly impact our journey toward breaking negative karma. Engage with those who uplift you, who inspire growth and understanding. Conversations and interactions with supportive friends and family can foster a nurturing environment where positivity flourishes. In addition to these practices, meditation serves as a powerful tool in our quest to break negative karma. By sitting in stillness and observing our thoughts without attachment, we can better understand our habitual responses. Meditation helps us create space between stimulus and reaction, allowing us to choose how we respond rather than simply reacting out of habit. The practice of loving-kindness meditation, or metta, can be especially beneficial. This meditation encourages us to cultivate feelings of love and compassion for ourselves and others. By sending out positive intentions, we actively work to counteract the negativity that may exist within us. Over time, this practice can help transform our minds, breaking the cycle of negativity and creating a more positive inner landscape. Finally, remember that breaking the cycle of negative karma is not an overnight process. It requires patience and commitment. Just as a gardener nurtures seeds to grow, we must also tend to our minds with care and compassion. Celebrate small victories along the way. Every step toward positivity is a step in the right direction. In conclusion, breaking the cycle of negative karma is about being mindful of our thoughts and actions, fostering positive intentions, practicing forgiveness, embracing gratitude, surrounding ourselves with positivity, and cultivating a meditation practice. By engaging in these practices, we can transform our inner world, allowing positivity to take root and flourish. Let us embrace the journey, knowing that every effort contributes to a brighter, more peaceful mind. Transforming your inner dialogue with right speech.